Hey, what's good, everybody? I wanted to do a quick reading, just to see the energies. Hopefully, you guys are all well. Hopefully, the eclipse season hasn't kicked your rear end too much, right? It's been a lot of interesting things happening. Okay. So, just making sure there's no cards that I left out. Yeah, if anyone wants a reading for the rest of September, I had put it in my other videos that if you want a reading, right now I have a special 65 for 30 minutes. It's a psychic reading, right? Not a tarot reading. So, yeah, if you have questions about that, just email me. I'll put the email in the description in a good way podcast at gmail.com. Ooh, wow. Wow. So the first card is success. I mean, not a bad and new plans, new ideas, clear mind, intellectual capacity, putting all the cards on the table. Um, yeah, seeing the truth, vision, being logical. Oh, and even maybe inspiring others, right? Victory, crown chakra, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini. So, wow, interesting. So that's pretty cool. I feel like during the eclipse there was probably a lot of different energy. I don't know, There's just a lot of different energy. So that's pretty cool. I like to see that come out, right? So let's see what else they got to say about that. You know. So what else is the current energy for the collective? What else is the current energy for the collective or what is this? Ooh. Oh, look at leadership, right? Maybe you're picking up on a third eye, right? Seeing clearly. Maybe you're in that energy like like the King of Wands energy, right? It says someone it's almost like a know what you want energy, right? But it says generosity, right? Fast and generous. Or maybe you're connecting with someone like that, right? Look at the little lizard. I like that. I went on a mountain bike ride and there were all these little lizards and I was just making sure I don't run over them, but they looked very bold. So it's funny that they use that and that's kind of the message is something, a passionate and strong. It's more like a paternal kind of energy, right? So, it is like a masculine energy. It doesn't matter if you're female, right? Like it's just talking about the energy. Um, yeah, yeah. When maybe it talks about a good marriage too. So maybe it's just gonna be a good connection overall. If you're meeting somebody or maybe you've had a rocky situation in a marriage and now it's just gonna feel different, right? The energy's shifting. And I could feel it. See, it's almost like being able to breathe after time of not being able to breathe. So yeah, let me know in the comments if that resonates. Yeah. So okay, what else is there to know about this energy, right? And that's Aries energy. The third eye, right? So see, so far it's like the crown, the third eye. So there's a lot of that, giving kind of more significance to the spiritual, right? Like being able to see things clearer, right? So that makes sense why you'd be able to breathe. It's like if you're stuck and everything around in the world, maybe even all the news, all the stuff, whatever's been affecting you, maybe things about the work or whatever, and all of a sudden, like stepping out of your body and being able to see, maybe connecting it for those of you that are tapped in, connecting to spirit guides, connecting to other energies. Wow. There it is. Maybe that didn't I just say spirit guides and all this and look at what come came out. See? Exactly what I said. Connecting to your spirituality, see, positive mind, patience, moderation, adapting, right? Adapting. See, so maybe there was something and now you adapting. Reflecting on things, right? Looking for peace. And again, wow, buen matrimonio. That wow, it came out twice. So it said talked about a good marriage, right? So a good connection. Just if there was something rocky, maybe it's and it says relaciones armonia. So harmony, right? Harmony in relationships, great talent and creativity, perspective, right? So a lot of things. It feels like something has shifted and more fire energy, right? Sagittarius. Solar plexus. So that means solar plexus. I often think of it as standing in your truth, right? Um, it's to me that's like the standing in your truth, chakra, right? It's pretty interesting, right? Look at one cup pouring into the other, right? So, and the sun shining nice and oh, that's a crown. Wow, wow, wow. And the crown, right? That was the very first card. Cause see, it's almost like there's a road, and at the end of the road, the crown illuminates. Wow, that is wow. Interesting. Okay, let's see what. Wow, that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense, right? Wow. Okay, I'm kind of okay, so there's a time of peace. Okay. I mean, I don't feel like there's really a whole lot of advice to be had about this. Okay, any other message for the collective then? I mean, it feels like it was a very to the point. You're stepping into this energy but it took that, right? Very spiritual, right? So the solar plexus, see, from the crown to the third eye to the solar plexus, it's like you took time to clear your mind, to connect with the higher realms. And because of that, it gave you a truth that you're able to stand on now. So this was how you were. Wow. So yeah. And I felt it right now too. Before the card even came out, I felt like this. So maybe you were in this energy, right? Restriction. But sometimes things are meant to happen. That's why the eight is interesting, right? Because it's almost like things you got to remember, things will teach you lessons, right? All right. Well, I guess, I was thinking, yeah, it's not always all light and fluffy, right? But see, at the end of that, right, it was almost like there was something that was affecting your solar plexus. That's why at the end of this, right, it was like you had to go somewhere else to get back to understanding why and rebalancing your solar plexus. But there was something there. Gemini energy, feeling impotent, right? Impotent. I don't know if it has the same meaning in Spanish, but sentirse impotente, right? Like feeling like, your hands are tied, right? Feeling cornered, feeling paralyzed, right? Um, like no hope, a crisis, anxiety, feeling even like right here it says esclavitud, like a slavery, but maybe that like a mental just bound, right? Like you couldn't punished. Yeah, that's interesting, right? That's interesting. Maybe, yeah, maybe somehow you were even feeling like, why is the universe trying to punish me or what? Let me give it a shuffle and then that, the whole thing gave me good energy up to this card, right? But you don't want to go backwards, right? If you already or if you're in this energy right now, maybe this is good to know that things are about to get clearer, right? So if you're still in that energy, know that it's gonna pass, right? And if you already made it out of that energy, it felt heavy. So just know that if you're not out of it yet, everything is right around the corner. Maybe you've been praying, right? Maybe so know that someone has your back. Know that okay, so do you wanna oof, okay. Yeah, I guess they do. I would like Empress. Wow. So maybe we were just trying to make things happen. That happens a lot, right? We try to force outcomes or, we don't let go and let God, as they say, right? And so I think finally once you see, because, like that, like the binds, right? They're not all wrapped right tight, right? Like, there's some around the hip. So probably once you kind of wiggle and let the things just fall off, then your hands are free to throw off the blind. But it's like, for example, like me, I'll see visions when my eyes are covered. So I don't mind having my eyes covered, right? For me, it's okay because that's sometimes I like it's sometimes I could see visions like that, right? But sometimes like yeah, I'm seeing everything, right? So sometimes closing my eyes will help me like get the images quicker. Boom, 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 right? So in a way, it's not really that horrible of a card. My throat chakra is kind of I'm feeling it right now, so I don't know. Okay, let me just I don't know what that. So this is being in a feminine energy, right? The Empress, right? Or receptive energy. See, it talks about, tapping into that feminine energy, right? The intuition. Um, Abundance, art, creation. Yeah, maybe just harmony, right? Harmony. Harmony was in the other one too. Harmony is important, right? Yeah. Just sitting back, like, yeah, maybe going to sit in nature even, right? Like maybe that's something there. Number three. What came out? Just the number 14 and the number three, huh? So let me see. All right. Any last advice for that's funny. What did I say? I knew it was gonna come out just when I said I could feel something in my throat. When it says no, I feel it's like don't engage in conflict, right? I feel like that's the message, right? Because I felt it like if someone wants to have conflict with you or don't, don't. Five. Or maybe someone wants, yeah. I feel like there's some egos, conflict, competition, judgment, juicio, obstacles, violence, peleas, disobedience. It's funny that it's disobedience. Disobedience. Throat chakra. That's so funny. Okay, let's see. See, I knew it. I felt it, and then boom, that card comes out. I knew it. Um, okay. So what about this conflict? Is the message for like collective to not engage? But just be careful, right, at this time. Be careful about conflicts and stuff. Don't lower yourself. You see all the cards that are coming out. Everything's coming out like very yeah. Feels like something's rushing in, right? Aquarius energy, I don't know. But swords, right? It's air energy regardless. Or maybe this is for you, right? Maybe once you settle in, nah, it doesn't feel like it's your energy. Let's see. Why is someone trying to start? Well, everything's about the harmony, right? So, mm, this is interesting, right? Ten of Pentacles. Wow, see? Whoa, my throat chakra. It feels like, see, you being in this energy, abundance, right? Like, I don't know, it feels like something good's coming. Maybe someone's gonna have a problem with things going good for you. I don't know. That's crazy, you know? So just be careful with that, right? Be careful, Yeah. Unexpected financial, right? Interesting. Maybe to some of you, maybe there's some kind of inheritance, right? And the little dogs, two dogs. Maybe some of you have two dogs. Yeah, and something, right? And all of a sudden someone wants to fight about something, right? Oh, my whole thing is kind of lighting up. So let me see. What is it? Why is someone trying to start fights over something financial, right? Victory. Wow. Okay. This is crazy, right? Good news. New job. So maybe that. Oh, maybe you get a position and someone's upset about that, right? Maybe so if this is work related, maybe that. Maybe you get a job offer, boom, brings in a lot of money, and then that's what someone's gonna be upset about. I don't know why. I mean, haters gonna hate, right? Look at that triumph. Yeah, people just don't being celebrated, right? Yeah, that's how it is, right? Sometimes when I like the white horse and the heart chakra. So for some reason, maybe it could take it how it resonate. Maybe it's gonna be in love, right? Maybe you're gonna have this sudden success in love. I know it's coming out like the Ten of Pentacles, but well, let me see. I mean, it's the Ten of Pentacles, but for some reason, why is it the heart chakra? Maybe it's gonna make your heart feel lighter, right? Maybe that was part of the stress, right? Maybe that was part of the stress that you weren't letting go, right? You weren't trusting in spirit. You were overthinking things. Hmm. Okay. So, okay, I'm gonna try to really just I like it, right? For the most part, this reading it feels like positive, right? It feels very positive. After though, right? Because that breath even just and then once this right before this card came out, I already felt like whatever struggle you were going through, or it feels like it's ending. So just hang in there, right? Hang in there. You've been going through all kinds of stuff, right? Look at that. Bam. Justice, right? Just know that the spirit world has your back, like, or, man, yeah, there's something in the throat. Something, I don't know, you know, I don't know. Maybe someone's unhappy about, but, recibo de lo que, what's just, right? Justice. Libra, right? Oh, we just started Libra season, like literally today, I think, or yesterday. What was it? When is Libra season? Wow. So it's for oh, maybe yesterday, right? The 23rd. Um, so yeah, justice, harmony. There's that harmony. I love it. Uh, equidad, moderation, independence, depende de espíritu, right? Balance with things. Wow, my whole gut just lit up like this fresh feeling, like almost like that, like if there was like eucalyptus on my whole belly, like all through, but like the energy, not in the belly, like this whole like the auric field, right? Just feels like whoosh, like this fresh, mm, you know, legal thing. If you were going through legal things, right? Look at juicios, matrimonios, right? Marriages. So that's funny that everything is about good marriages, and yeah, maybe there's something there, right? That connects something with the 11, right? And it looks, the 11 looks like, right? Like how they say, like like a lot of times, right? It's thought of like 1111 is like the twin flame thing or stuff like that, or it's very matching, right? So Libra, balance, 11. I don't know. There was justice, so I'll just leave it with that, right? I don't think Yeah. So I took my energy right there, right? But it feels really like justice. That's a perfect way to, yeah. Wow. Six of wands. Had I said five? I don't think I had said five because the other one was the five, the fighting. I went six. Let me use this one because I haven't used this one in a long time. Yeah. Ah, out of all the, that's so funny. You know, I got this deck because a lot of these female deities were appearing to me. I went through this whole thing. I didn't even know about so many of them. And for those of you that are tapped in, what, like, yeah, they just started appearing. So, oh man, this thing's I'm not taking reversals. So, well, there is no reversals with this deck anyways. So it's nothing like that. This is the Dark Goddess Oracle deck. Oof, wow, that was fast. Okay, so potential, see, Isan Ami. So there's some kind of potential, right? Look at all the little butterflies. Wow. See the transformation. Funny, she has something on her throat, and I kept feeling stuff on my throat. So maybe that's about the potential. Right? It's a choice, right? I don't know. I don't know. Either something was trying to. Maybe, oh, see, as soon as I touched the cards, my throat kind of tightened up again. So let's not confuse the message, I guess. But let me see what this one means. Potential. Izanami is the Japanese goddess of both life and death. She and her consort Is-Agi descended from heaven and together out of chaos formed the Japanese archipelago and populated it with the gods and goddesses. When Izanami gave birth to the fire god, her body was destroyed and she died. Oh. Isatami then traveled to Yumi, the underworld, where she ate the food of the dead, which bound her to remain there for all eternity. Isanagi traveled to Yumi, determined to bring her home, but when he was greeted by her corpse-like figure, he ran back to the safety of the earth. Izanami then took up her reign as queen of the underworld. That's sad. Meaning, you have infinite potential spread out before you. Izanami can aid you in peering into the chaos and the darkness to imagine wonderful new possibilities. You are as powerful now as you will ever be. Now is the time to tap into that power to create your highest potential. Trust that everything you need is coming together. Wow. See, so yeah. So that's pretty interesting, right? Because I get that, right? Because even this energy felt very, and that's what it is. Sometimes these things that we go through force us, yeah, they force us to grow, right? It's almost like part of the divine plan. Yeah, I'm not gonna, oof. Well, maybe I'm supposed to talk about it because I don't know, my throat felt tight. Yeah, like I've been through that a lot of times, and at some point in my life, not that it gets easier, right? Obviously, when you keep going through things, it gets exhausting. It gets like sometimes you could get into that, like man, I'm over it, right? Like, okay, my whole life has been a lesson, but it really is, right? Like your whole life is a lesson, and it does get exhausting at some point, right? But yeah, that's kind of why we're here, right? We're here in the school of Earth to learn. And so in hindsight, I've learned that, right? To be able to look back and be like, oh, like I get why that happened now, right? I get why that happened at the moment. Yeah, it just feels like, I think like that. I've learned a lot of things alone, but yeah, sometimes you even connections, right? Connections. Um, you learn because you really can't control or predict how someone else like that's the craziest thing, right? When you can't predict or control how someone else, and people a lot of times don't know how to communicate. Someone could be having a bad day and then they take it out on you or something, and then you get defensive about it. So imagine just our everyday connections, right? You could go to work all happy, boom, 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 and then your boss, you don't know what, something just happened, right? That happened to me once on the podcast. I was going to interview someone, and I don't know, they started acting all weird with me because I was just being very like professional, but I guess they sensed my energy. And I almost called off. That's the only time I ever almost called off a podcast interview because they started getting all like weird to me, and then during the interview, I think I mentioned that my dog had just passed, my dog of like 12, 13 years. And they were like, oh, that was the energy I was picking up on. Um, and I was like, well, like I didn't act weird. I was being professional, but they picked up on an energy. And because of that, they started getting defensive. Like, oh, why is this person having like, they thought the bad energy was towards them, but it wasn't like a bad energy. I was just going through I literally just put that morning my dog had passed or the day before, something like that. And I still, yeah, like the show carried on, right? I still had to do the interview. So all that to say, yeah, my throat's been really with this reading. So I don't know what something. Let's just say maybe there's communication that needs to be had. I'll say it like that. Right? There's something, right? And try not to get if you feel like someone's gonna communicate with conflict, just don't even, you know, if it needs to be had, I guess just hold the space, just listen. But yeah, I see it cleared up. Maybe that's part of it. Ah, that's funny that I'm wearing the blue too, blue and blue throat chakra. Maybe that's a huge indicator for this. Okay, any last message from this sacred forest? If not, then I'll close it out there. Kind of, yeah, stillness. Wow, see what I just said about look at reflecting pool stillness. 33. I like that number. It almost looked like the swan was moving, so maybe go look at the water, right? Go look at the water. Wow, my heart kind of felt refreshed with water obviously is emotions and everything, but just be still. Or even that, right? Maybe. Okay, let's read it real quick and then that'll be it. Reflecting pool stillness. As you stand on the soft mass at the edge of the forest pool, you can see your own reflection. A soft breeze ripples the surface. Your image wavers and shifts, only to return as the air becomes still. In the quietude of this moment, you tap into the internal source of your power. You watch as your reflected image transforms into the highest form of you. What beauty and grace. Ah. In stillness, your power emerges. Tap into your inner sacred witness to discover the dwelling place of your soul. In profound peace and silence, you can discover the truth of your being. If you are in pain, go into the stillness until you find the source. Resist the temptation to indulge in feelings of overwhelm, urgency, and emergency. There is always a higher truth. Seek it out. Your soul loves what is real and honest. In quietude, the truth emerges. Move past the bustle and chatter of life into sweet stillness. Allow the chaos of the outer world to roll off your back the way water rolls off the back of a duck. Surrender to it. Seek solitude to hear the voice of spirit, and serenity will follow. The spirit of the reflecting pool says, in silence, you'll find the dwelling place of your soul. Take time to move into quietude, and you'll uncover a vast store of insight emerging within you. In ongoing situations in your life, hold back. Take time to reflect before responding. Hmm, I like it. So, like I said, I mean, that pretty much goes with what I was saying. Like, I kept feeling the throat chakra. So, Just the main thing is someone wants to, wow. Ugh. That took out a lot. If someone wants to, yeah, just take time, right? Maybe if someone is trying to lure you into a conflict, tap into higher self. Like as you're engaging in this conversation, maybe ask with every word, right? Be like, listen to like spirit. Yeah. I could hear birds singing outside, so I like that, right? I heard soul song for some reason. What's your soul song? What's your soul song, right? Maybe look into that. Let me look that up real quick and then we'll close it out. Soul song can refer to the genre of soul. No, that's not what I'm looking at. A soul song can be understood metaphorically as an expression of one's deepest self. What's your deepest self? A primal melody connecting to one's unique inner voice. What's your soul song? So that was the last little message, right? What's your soul song? Interesting. I don't know. I'm sure after it's gonna come out why that's the last little message, right? But okay, I'll end it there. Thanks. Peace.